Welcome back to another episode of Insights with C5 Insight. My name is Jennifer Dorward, and we have Patrick Wright and Malcolm McCauley with us today. And we are going to be talking about why you're never done with your solution. And to clarify a little possible confusion, solution is referring to whatever technology you're employing, CRM, CE, whatever you're choosing as your solution, as opposed to a development solution. So I'll go ahead and kick off a couple of thoughts I have on this subject, if you don't mind. And one of them being something that's very important to me is process improvement. I think that's a key driver to the continuous evolution of CRM, for example, or whatever solution you're living in, and it's a continuous process to improve either individual processes throughout the team or how your business is evolving as a whole, your business goals and such. So those are some things that come to mind as why you're continually on this journey to develop your solution so it fits your needs. Patrick, would you like to continue?
Sure. Yeah. So, on some of your opening comments, we do want to make sure, especially if some of you are actual system admins out there and you hear the word solution and you think of going to Power Platform Admin Center and creating a solution and putting some new components in it. We're not talking about that, more of a holistic approach. And I think too often people start a project and they think, oh, okay, so I've got this list of requirements, I've built them, now I'm done. Rather than, as you said, going through that continual improvement process. There's always a V2. That's our code name around here at C5 Insight about all the things that are coming up in the next thing. So there's always a V2 waiting in the wings for us to have an improvement, some little nuance for what we've already built, and those kinds of things. So I think it's important to keep in that mindset. I guess it's a mindset to always be on the lookout for what's the next greatest thing. Now, I don't know, maybe this is a good opportunity to talk about how can we collect those ideas? Maybe that's a topic we can explore. But I don't want to, like, Malcolm, if you had other thoughts, I don't want to like derail us before we covered some other things.
Well, I think that is a topic in and of itself, right? The whole feedback management and what do you do? And I think that there's a good reason it would come up because you're spot on. You're both spot on, right? Jennifer, I think this applies to any system. It's not just CRM like you were alluding to. It's really anything you're using, because I think it's very few and far between that an organization would deploy a system of this nature, a CRM system, an accounting software, whatever the case may be, for a very brief period. The vision is long range. We're going to use this system to manage our business data, and it's going to happen over the long term. And so that segues into, I think, what you're getting at, Patrick, is as people are using it, they are naturally going to have suggestions, ideas. Your business is going to evolve and change over time, and you're going to need to manage new things. It could be new products, it could be new process, it could be new line of business that you're opening up or anything like that. And so I think that, to me, is why these things never stop. Even if you didn't change your business model and you're doing the same thing, you're offering the same service, you're still going to have nuanced changes to how you go about that business and what you do and what you need to track. And to me, that user feedback, again, I think it's a session we should put that on our list of topics to cover, because how do we manage feedback is a huge one. But there's always going to be things you should do and change over time, for sure. So yeah.
So I wonder, not to get too far into those weeds, it's going back to the mindset of, I think of it like we're bringing this new being into existence. We've created this life form almost, and that there's always that nurturing, that tending to it. And I guess that's kind of the sense of why we're saying it's never really done. It's always growing, because if it's not changing and growing and expanding to fit the audience that's consuming whatever system it is, then it's probably dying.
Right.
And so you just have to keep it moving. I don't know. Is
I
it the
think
shark
too-
analogy that we've heard about? Like it's got to keep swimming to survive.
Just keep swimming.
Right. But I think too, it's about, I mean, we talked a bit about changes and things like that, but it's so easy to get into analysis paralysis on these tools and try
Yeah.
and strive for, hey, we have the perfect functionality for every business need that we're putting in the system. I think you drive yourself batty if you tried to do that. So it's this notion of iterating and V2, like you talked about. So, hey, we're going to track the data this way, and we're going to go about it, and then we're going to check in and see how it works, and is it giving what we need? And I think one of the interesting things that another topic, rabbit trail, if you will, we could go down is this idea of starting with the end in mind, which I know we've talked about that being a session in and of itself as well, because, don't just be like, well, we want to track data. That's great, but why? And what are you doing? So we'll cover that in a separate section. But because of that mindset, I think you're always going to have things that you want to tweak and adjust and fix and monitor over time, right? So I think that's a reason that these things just never end, and why you probably need to make sure you have an administrator or somebody who's responsible. It's not the business owns it for sure. It's everybody's responsibility, but somebody needs to take ownership on driving all this forward for sure.
Absolutely.
And I feel like, but you also need to have to kind of tie it up. You can't just never be finished either with what you're working on at the moment. So it's a done for right now. And Malcolm, you like to say this a lot when we're working on a project together. It's like, how do you paint what finished looks like, so that when you've reached the end of that particular portion of the journey towards whatever you've been working on. Yeah, so it's a done for right now, but you're not done.
Yeah, to also quote Malcolm on something, crawl, walk, run is something that's very powerful visualization for as this solution evolves, what it can do for you, and you have to work up to that speed and that stride and the end result, and keep running towards it.
Or swimming if you're a shark.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, those are all good insights, if you will. I think that just if you're managing a system, I love this whole talk about like we're done for now, because if you are managing a system, you're done iterating to a certain point, and then you're in this period of observation and seeing what works. But in our experience, there's always a lengthy list of enhancements and changes. So you're probably planning those next ones while you're waiting. But if you haven't got a functional model in place that says, hey, we're going to build this, we're going to put it out there, we're going to collect some feedback and see how it's working, you should consider doing that, because you want to make sure that you're tracking what you built it with something in mind. You had a function, a feature, data, whatever it is in mind. You should probably have a mechanism in place to make sure that you're actually getting that when you get on the other side of pushing it to production and people are using it. And are you truly getting what you need? And if you are, great. And check again in 6 months or a year. And if you're not, then now it's time to figure out why, right? Dig into why you're not. So excellent insights, team. Anybody else have anything else to share, or are we good to wrap? No, we're good. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you watching, everybody. And if you have topic ideas, please put them in the comments down below. We're always monitoring and keep an eye on them. We'd love to tackle topics. Who knows? Maybe we'll even invite you as a guest. So we're happy to see you, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks, everybody.